Hello traders, I hope you're all well and doing good this morning. Welcome to the live Advanced Bookmap webinar. Today we're joined by Joseph, a professional stocks trader. I think you've just joined now. Hello Joseph, how are you? You hear me, Joseph? Well, while Joseph is getting set up there, I'll carry on with the intro. So this live session is part of our education here at Bookmap. These webinars with JTrader are held every Wednesday at 10 AM Eastern Time. Your usual host Bruce is away today, so I'll be helping out. Please feel free to write your questions in either the YouTube chat or Discord room, and we'll do our best to get through them. Before we jump into the live analysis with JTrader, just a couple of things to cover. First of all, oh, you can hear him, but I can't. Oh, that's a problem. You can hear me as well, I guess. Okay, so it's something on my end. I'll just carry on with the contact information. If you want to get in touch with Joseph, you can reach out on his website, jtrader.co, and his Twitter is @jtraderco. And the disclosure here quickly. All Bookmap Limited materials, information and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Live trading is in simulation demo paper trading mode and strictly for educational purposes. Live trading executed in simulation cannot accurately represent realistic trading performance. And the risk disclosure. Trading futures, equities and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. An investor could potentially lose all or more than the initial investment. Risk capital is money that can be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security nor lifestyle. Only risk capital should be used for trading, and only those with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Okay, let me just have a play about in my settings then, because I'm going to need to hear you. That's very important. I guess you guys can't hear him on YouTube either.
No, Sam, if you can hear me.
I hear you now. I've just changed my settings.
Perfect. So good morning, first of all. Good morning, traders. I'm going to go over a few things over here today on small caps, mainly small caps, but also big caps. So I want to share with you a few things. Over here that me and some, these are some of the trades that we took. Well, here in this, and then we start like selling. What you're going to see over here is what, for example, I covered live when I was trading and explaining, sharing my screen. Okay, so of course now you see, and this was done live. Of course now you see over here the trades, but we're going to go over all the process that we had. So this, just to make this things clear. We also were busy trading this morning a few small cap stocks like Drug, which gave us one tight stop and one win. I will share after. Bbby, so I'm gonna share the process. In SPRC, for example, my bear over here next to me, we shorted it, and I will share how and where. We shorted the main tops on this one. So 1, 2, and then 3 over here. So I think we can start. And we're going to start from looking at Drug, actually, sorry, SPRC. We're both in now, Drug and SPRC, at least Mama Beer in. And I'm going to share what is your SPRC. This morning, my process single morning, going over the main gappers. I look for gainers and losers. So I started watching this morning at Bbby, NERV, QT. Okay. So now during the session, you see other extension plays. You can just like reach out or comment, and we're gonna go over more stuff play that we have right now. So SPRC was a gapper with very low volume pre-market. Y was up. So first thing, I started looking at the news over here. So positive results for the cocaine addiction treatment of its psychedelic-based pharma collaboration with Clear Mind Medicine. All right. So additional positive results. So when you're trading a small cap, especially on small caps, news have a very big impact in determining or giving you a first bias, right, to filter out if the stock will be a long or a short. There are certain news that really try to, you can see them, they try really to attract the trader in order to make him buy the company to push this higher, and then they dump. You have to know that all small caps, or at least I would say the bigger majority, right? Maybe 90% of these are shell companies. When I say shell companies, is basically a company that is using offerings in order to raise money, because the company is not having a positive net profit, is not really having, I would say, an income. Now, announces additional positive results. Over here, we can see, go down and you see the preclinical trial. So we're not talking over here. And by the way, traders, can you hear me good? I'm trying over here to fix my voice. Let me know if you can hear me good. So we're not really talking about a company that has a final endpoint met or phase 3, all right? We are talking about a company that has only preclinical trials. So from this moment to go to the phase 3 or FDA approval, it can pass millions of dollars or even like dozen or hundreds of millions of dollars according to the drug they're developing in years. All right. Thank you for the heads up, Rome on NERV. Okay, keep an eye on that. We'll maybe watching that as well. The second thing that I need to look in this before getting to, I would say the process. So using over here the Bookmap tool, and we're gonna look what actually trigger my entry or entries in the room. I want to look at the stats. So we have a company that had 6 times a gap, and you can see today SPRC was a gap, 6 times gaps above 10% on the day, 4 times closed red with an average high of day time 950 and an extension of average 20%. So if I look over here today on SPRC, and I would say first let's look at the daily chart. We're gonna put over here, very simple, just put over here your daily chart. You can see how I have it. And then we're gonna put over here appearance. We can put candle, as you prefer, really. So this is our chart, all right? Let's save it. And the first analysis I do is using the daily chart. So I start looking at days where high volume was traded. And when I say high volume, for me, at least has to be above 10 million or widely above 10 million, because we're talking about a $2 company over here. I'm starting to look at previous levels of resistances. Like over here, we have a top high at 394. And then over here, we can see also the low. I will put over here the close of this. And then we have another day, this one, right? This was the 26th of May. I'm going to put the high. I'm going to put my close. And I'm going to put my low. And I started doing that for all the main high volume days that I have. Then I decided this morning, and I was explaining this actually in the pre-market YouTube session. I was sharing Bookmap over here and the scanner. And I started putting my fibs from this level over here, 220s, traced them with low set at 0.86. And I started to have my areas. So the most important areas that I was watching on the chart was 169, 153, 38%, 23%. Now, a lot of traders will ask me how to trace, I'm sorry, how to trace over here Bookmap levels using fibs. 3 years, or I think even 4 years ago, if you go on my YouTube, you can see how to set fib charts and how to trace trend lines, support, resistance level, supply, demand zone. 3-4 years ago. So I think it's pretty good and important to understand if you want to make, I would say, a good union, right, between fibs and over here, daily levels. The second, go over here to the 1 minute chart. I'm using 1, 3, and 5, and this is the process. So over here we can see an example. This is from a trader in the room. I think it's a pretty good example. And you can see this trader where he took his trades. So at these peaks, right? And then each time we had a dip, he covered, right? So you can see over here, the main proposition of our morning was to look for a short on this stock, being that the news is fluff, being that we know that this stock likes to extend around 20% and then fail, and average high of day time 950. Now look over here why stats work. Average high of day time today 948. So when we want to have an edge, right, and this is extremely important in your trading, based on the data. Data gives you, I would say, a main picture. And then, of course, you will need your chart, your Bookmap to find the timing. Because I can say something is going to drop by stats 80%. Okay. If that day you don't have the trigger because the system is not giving you anything, you're going to end up like losing or blowing up. So over here, you can see average high of day time 950, guys. 950, right? And then you go over here and you see the high of day of today was 948. 2 minutes difference. You can see how stats work, or at least why they are a good edge. So the morning we started like with this push, and we're going to look again if we have more possible entry or recycling today on this. In the meantime, 1 second, because I'm also looking at other stocks. Okay, start looking at NERV, please.
Yeah.
Okay. So we had over here some very good volume at the open. You can see the bars on this were around 1 million plus, so a lot of buyers over here. And I was looking at those fib levels. So I was looking at this 138. I was looking, of course, at the pre-market high, 144. And then we had a high volume resistance over here on Bookmap 150. Remember last time we covered this, and I said when we have a high volume resistance, and this being that is a future, a small cap, a big cap, remember it's like a magnet where the price will be attracted to, right? So 150 was the ideal level where I want to see really a rejection, or often in this market you will see a fake breakout, and then we're going to look for a main short. But not always we're gonna have that level. Sometimes we're gonna go maybe 145, not reach 150, and then fail. So I'm gonna share also the trade that Bear took we'll post it both in Boiler Room and in Bookmap Room once she's done. So probably in 30 minutes, 1 hour, or something like that. But the point is, I'm gonna explain to you right now what we did. We started shorting over here, this 142. And in the exact moment I was trading this, I was explaining why we're trading this time short, okay? So not really calling trades 5 minutes later, but in the exact moment. And then over here, the first trade. So we saw over here the price getting to this area, and we were looking over here for shorts, not full size, but shorts, because we had the resistance, because we had that supply, because over here we saw really the price slowing down. You can see the price over here slowing down these peaks, right? And then right away, when you start seeing like some sellers, you start joining. Of course, there's a big difference when you trade a $130, $140 stock, shorting here or shorting here. Because this is like, we're talking about like 8-10%, all right? 140, yeah, something like almost 10% difference. So of course, you want to short up here and not down here. And shorting over here, 933, is exactly into this area over here. So you want to short high. And then when we have these washouts, you want to take a partial profit. Remember, my first target is this. All right. So we want to short high. How you short high? First of all, you have to be fast. You have to have a fast broker. You have ideally to use hotkeys. If you're slow like me, hotkeys help a lot. And you have to master the timing. Timing comes over here. The first dot completed over here on Bookmap, there's where you want to short. Okay. Also, one thing that I will say you can experiment with is trying to short on the ask. Okay, trying to short on the ask. The second short that we look into was at this level. Big resistance 150. Price got to that 150. And the 150, besides being a psychological level of, your 50 cents in 50 cents, which is it's a pretty important level to trade. You want to look for also how it reacts at 150. So when the price over here, I'm trying to zoom in. When the price reaches 150 over here, you can see that we have buyers, right? Buyers in control, 46,000, 78,000. At a certain point over here, they try to buy more at 150. But at a certain point, again, you see that sellers jump in. So these gray dots are sellers. And then we have some buyers, right? But buyers are basically over here. Yeah, they're getting overwhelmed because they cannot push above 150. And once they see they have no more power, whether they are basically defeated by the shorts or the sellers in this case, and we have that unwind. So it doesn't mean that when we start taking our short, and we took our short over here again, we'll share again later the charts when my beer is done and the team is done. Doesn't mean that if I short over here, I want to see a short all day fade. But it means that my first target, this over here, I'm looking for those two main levels where to cover a partial. Then over here, what you can do, your risk break even. So when it comes back up on this curl over here, you see on this curl, we break this level over here, 143, 144, you can risk break even. At a certain point, we had a breakout. So finally, the stock gave a breakout at 150. So that important area, right? Broke 150, boom, wash. And then they start holding over here. So this is a trap. It's a trap for who? It's a trap for short sellers because they're reclaimed the 150, so the previous resistance. So if you're short over here, what you do? You're gonna risk or 160, and that will put you like in a really bad scenario. Remember, every 10, 15 cents, actually in this case, 15 cents is 10%, or you're gonna stop out. And if you are a long trader, the majority of long traders don't buy on the dips, they buy on the breakouts because that's the wrong idea the traders have. So you're gonna buy over here. So longs buy over here and shorts stop over here. Both are trapped. Both are trapped because a lot of these stocks, and over here, remember, we're talking about a 50% fib level. They are doing everything in their hands to trap sellers, to trap short sellers, to trap bull traders. And then what they do, they simply start dumping over here. So I would say a lot of stocks have their agenda, big traders, firms, institutionals, or even insiders, they will play always against you through market makers or even their orders. And over here, you can see the second part, simply start making lower highs, lower lows, and now we're simply holding. And there's a main point over here that you have to get from all of this. And I would like to hear also your comment. The first point is this. Only after a main fake breakout, also called clear out, plus rejection, you have the confirmation of an unwind. In this case, the 150, right? And the second point is volume, supply versus demand. What does it mean? If you look at this stock, over here, we see the timing on Bookmap, right? But if you wait and look at this stock, you see a first part of our chart that is a high volume. Peaks over here are 1.75, 2 million almost per minute. That's a high volume, all right? Even it's a $1.50 stock. But after the main clear out, where are all the longs? They're underwater, they're drowning, and this is going to fail. Every single time you're going to have the difference between high volume and low volume, and you start seeing that this stock starts fading below supports, this is going to drop. Makes sense, traders? Okay. So at this point, we're holding this stock. We want to see the main target today around 1. Okay. All right. Glad that you're understanding over here the full process. It's very important over here now to monitor also Bookmap, because I want to see, take it like this, all right? There's much more to say, but I want to see this. I want to see a lot of sweeps on the way down. For example, even if I didn't put over here the sweep indicator, this is a nice sweep. So the stop loss triggered over here on this breakdown, and right away it's a wash. And I won't see many of these going on, right? So you will see over here all breakdowns of the levels, and until I see those occurring, I would say often in our chart, I have a safety that we're going to fail. With this volume, unless some crazy volume popping over here, 1 million, with this volume, we're going to fail. And now I'm just like looking to lock in around 105, 110. That's my area. Okay. All right. Second one of today is Bbby. I didn't trade this, but I think Bookmap is unbelievable. That's the reason why I suggest to use Bookmap, traders. For this, you have a stock that this morning was short bias on this, right? This is how I had a plan. My plan was to look for a short on a pattern over here on Bbby, which was up on news. And the pattern to trade was a gap and extension. This is a gap and extension, right? Over here, the bot gives me an idea of what I want to trade. Gap and extension means there's a setup that I want to short high. And today I had 2 main levels that I wanted to trade over here or over here. These were the 2 main levels, or over here. right? So, or the VWAP, or this level 1180, or this level over here 1220, which is the pre-market high. Remember what I said before, Bookmap levels will act as a main catalyst. So we have 1, 2, and 3. All right. So this is the mean. You shorted 1, you added 2, you added 3. This means find the right timing. As I said, I didn't short this. I'm not in a trade, but I saw some traders that had very beautiful trades. So I'm going to explain the timing. The main level that you see over here on Bookmap is this high, 12, right? And what we can see over here? Price in control is always the blue part, right? The blue over here are buyers, blue dots. Until we get this level over here, and you start seeing a very low risk scenario. So this point is a good level where I start looking for a possible short. Because if you short 1194, 95, 90, 92, you have basically between 4 and 8 cents risk. That's where you want to short. You want to give it a try. And then, of course, you can re-add J-lines, rejection, all. But you want to give it a try because that's a very low risk area for a possible short. And then you can see that from this moment, we start having what I love to have. What I love to see in a chart is our sweeps, right? So stop loss, boom, trigger, boom, wash. When I see those, I know that, and over here again, another one, you see over here, break of the support, sweep, boom, wash. So from this lesson, and over here, another one, you see over here, breakdown of support, sweep. So from this lesson, maybe Sam, you can cut those 3 pieces over here today. So before an SPRC, over here on BBY, we can put this. Finding correct timing. And this is both valid for a short and for longs, all right? Because these were not longs for me this morning based on the scenario. But finding correct timing to short, I would use always main. You can do like this. Main Bookmap area of liquidity. And ideally, we want to see this dark red plus confirmation or more recycling. Recycling means like adding to your shorts, sweeps, cuts, right? With our sweeps over here, it's basically stop loss triggered on base support breakdowns. Okay, I think we can use this as a guide for the trade, and this came all the way down. So, for example, let's see over here. This morning, somebody traded this good. I think this is a very good way to trade it. And this is from an English trader. So our scientist, Mary. So shorting this beautiful pop over here, just into the 12. You see, that's a perfect time, the perfect execution. So not trading the front side, avoiding it here, shorting front side, and then looking for the back side. But this is a correct way to do it. Drug. So as I said, we're short, maybe we're short 248, 245, 2 different accounts of this. And I'm going to explain you why. Fib level again, plus Bookmap. In this case, we don't have the, careful over here, because on break even, we're going to stop break even. So over here, we don't have like we had before on BBY or SPRC, a clear red level of heat map or resistance. Over here, we have just a stock that is going parabolic move, double top into a Bookmap level, because over here, still 250 a Bookmap level, half the number, so we have a second parameter. And then what we have a fib level. So that trade where has the first target. 1 minute J lines. And we got to this level over here. Main stuff over here. Now let's look at this price action. So you can see that they clear out that 250 and right away it gave you the stuff. So those are the levels that we're looking for a short into. So clear out 252, 255. This is your reason to short over here 250, 255, risking just this above. So now we can look at the price action over here, looking at drug. They clear out 250. So after 90 made dip, risk to break even. So you can see over here that for now we have somebody that's holding, but if we break 240, possible wash. So let's see if this is going to wash 90 May right now. Want to see, remember those sweeps, right? So like we saw before, when I see those breakdowns, then a sweep over here to the downside, that gives a confirmation. You see where it went exactly our place over here. And again, over under that fib. So for now, if I have to say sellers are in control, so I'm watching over here for a possible wash. Remember, only one thing over here is now important, the risk. So if you shorted 252, 250, 248, if the price starts curling, you're going to get out. Nice to have over here a seller, 245. Here, what price came? Around 244.
Yeah, 244.
Okay, so right down 637 and 244. You did a good one there. So that's now a 61,000 seller at this point, but we have another buyer, 232, which is this level over here. So we can put also, I would suggest over here, traders, we can add times and sales. And we can filter this, I would say, minimum size. Let's put 999. What do you think? So we can see the big buyers, actually not the big buyers. Big buyers over here would be above 30, 40,000 shares for a $2 stock. So we have a first rejection over here of the heat map. You want to see this unwind, right? You want to see this trend line break, bear flag formation. And what if this is a play? Extension play. How I know it? Extension play. Right, so we are trading an extension play. So they're making over here lower high, lower low. If you look at the last 3 bars. This is a pennant pattern. Remember, the risk is break even, and now the first target where to cover partial is 228, 230. Remember the sweep, you want to see a fast sweep over here, 237. They're trying to break this uptrend line. They're lowering over here the offer 244. A ton of volume on this drug today. 80 million volume. So when you're in a trade, put always your stop loss level. This is how I trace fibs. So I'm gonna put over here. This is how we trace fibs, sorry. I'm gonna post also here. So drug levels of fibs. And those fibs are important right now. You see the tape is red, so we're going to that 230, 232 level. We have, as I said, the fib over here today at 253. And you can see it was not perfect 253. We came to the 260s and then we unwinded. But it gives you a very good degree. Remember, we used that before on BBY. We used that before also on SPRC. SPRC that rejected from a 50% fib. Over here, we're rejecting a 38% fib. Careful because they remove over here the demand at 232. So ideally, we would like to see a drop over here. So a washout. So remember what I'm looking for, right? Look at BBBY. I want to see those sweeps like this. You see this one? That's a beautiful sweep for me. Break a support, right away flush. Over here, SPRC at only a small one. You know, we're talking about $135 and came down. Instead, what we're trading right now in SPRC, we're holding, okay, we're short from the 150s. Drug over here is not giving that good sweep as I like. Small one over here from 240 down to 236. So very, very minimal sweep. But I mean, the timing is good, so let's only hold the trade over here. Also, traders, if you like I'm explaining really the setup we traded this morning, drug, BBY, SPRC, also Tesla later. So if you like over here, put thumbs up and you can share the link.
Yeah, I think there's some great examples there. Timing is one of the biggest challenges in trade execution, and you've gone through some great examples there on how to use Bookmap to get your timing right. You know, with the volume bubbles at the top there, and looking for sweeps for continuation of the trend, and also you're kind of leaning on the liquidity levels there on drug to give you some nice insight.
Yeah, and it's not an easy stock. I didn't say this because also it has SSR. So of course, when you're short, you want to short on the ask because otherwise you won't get filled unless, you know, with few brokers, you can get advantage of the upticks. So short sale restriction. But I would say a good timing over here from a lot of traders that I've seen today on this one. Gonna talk soon about Tesla. This was Tesla today, a beautiful run, and really a big one today. Really a big one today on Tesla. So let's finish over here to cover traders. I would say Sam drug because we are in, you know, in the most interesting zone, and then we're gonna go how we trade over here Tesla. So for now, they're just like holding that support 235. And this 235 that we're watching over here is the pre-market high as well. Starting to curl, but still we have low volume. Just look over here, this dip. I see as many buyers as many sellers right now. So if you're short, don't give up your position. Starting to curl more, a little bit more buyers. I see a 17,000 passing over here, and now a lot of green, but it's still a good short to hold. Again, rejection from that high level of liquidity, 96K at 243 over here. More sellers over here, so I like this content. In the meantime, traders, I think uh, we have to mention one of the traders always with us. His name is McLovin. So he's a Bookmap user. Sam over here, he writes every week when we are on Discord. And I wanted to share what means to have a plan and what means to come back from a loss. So this is what he sent me this morning. Now he's away on holidays. And over here, after this loss, he lost a little bit of confidence. And he wrote me some very good things. So what personally worked for him coming back from a loss, and back testing using a system, being I would say using a correct risk management, and also having Bookmap. All these four things together started the month very bad, and then look what they led him to on the next, I would say, 3 weeks of the month. Over here, he's taken out, this wrote me today, he's taken out for a 10 days vacation holiday, but this is traders what you have to aim to. When you have a big loss and you're like, you're fearing to take the next trade, remember that if you have self-control, if you control your mind, the bad habits, then you can really recover and have a very good month.
He's off celebrating, is he? Having a
Yeah, I
party.
believe that, is is a very good example of mental discipline. So he was not really shaken out that much. The day after, he was already green. So that's a very big part of self-control. And I believe that in trading, managing emotions, managing your having discipline, managing yourself, fixing what's not working in your life or what's bothering you. Because when you trade, you have to be 100% focused on this.
Yep.
It's really hard. And if you have something that is like putting into doubts a sphere of your private life, you have to fix it before you get into trading, whatever that is. Boyfriend, girlfriend, dog, whatever. Everything has to be fixed.
Yep.
And that's a very good way to manage things, like putting down things, back tests, having tools, having also a room that supports you, having a good team, and working on yourself. So over here right now, I would really like to continue going over drug, but I want to pass to Tesla. So remember over here, if you're short 245, 248, or 250, or 244, whatever that is, you have to put the stop break even. This is a stock that is holding the pre-market high at 11 o'clock. By my rules, when it holds this level after 10:30, it's not anymore an A+ setup to trade a short, it's a B setup. Means size down, take profit earlier, and be ready for more manipulation. Makes sense, guys? Okay. Let's go our friend Tesla. So, reversal of a pattern. So of course, I'm sharing now charts, but what we shared today and what we traded was live in that moment. So I share my executions in that moment. I was explaining was what entering and all the process. This is one of the mentories that I teach. So the point this morning was over here to wait for this morning breakout. So waiting for the first 10-15 minutes, the direction on Tesla, and then looking for a long. The conviction came from two main things, and I'm going to share why. So I'm going to put a 5-minute chart, or we can use even actually a 50-minute chart today. So we're going to go with the bigger time frame. So over here, these were my very simple levels this morning. You can see this level, I traced it before the open, 891 and 46. And then I had this level over here traced at 896 and 60s, and then this level over here traced at 899 and 50s. All right, let's go back with, so we're gonna put over here a little bit more time. We can actually take off for now SPRC and BBY, which I'm not really paying attention, my beer is. So we're gonna look on Tesla, at Tesla over here. Okay, so this is loaded. We're gonna go back to the open. And to this point. So before Sam, it's already the third time I said this. When we see a big liquidity on Bookmap, we're gonna use that and we're gonna recognize that as a main catalyst. So if we have a big liquidity over here, the biggest that you can see on this chart is 900 over here, be a bright, darker color. So I know that the price will be probably attract to that level as a magnet. And over there, we have two main catalysts. One is gonna give me a rejection, and we're gonna look for a short, right? The second one is that we're gonna break out, hold, and we're gonna take a long. So market is very simple. If you know the correct levels and how to trade them, it's just like 50% or long or short. Or of course, I'm wrong. It's long and short and also sidelines. But if you have the correct level, it's only long or short. Nothing more easier to define, all right? 50%. It's like if you like vanilla or chocolate ice cream. The same thing over here. We get to this level and we have a first rejection. Remember that 900 over here that I this morning traced, 899 and 50. So at this point over here, what I was looking for a break of this level. So I was looking over here for a price to break. The price broke over here, 941, right away rejected. So it gave me a first, I would say, fake out like we had before in drug, remember, the fake breakout. Right away, the price rejected over here, but I was not looking to short yet. The chart that I shared, for example, in even in Bookmap before, are all longs, and we were waiting for a consolidation above 900, of course. And this is where we start like loading the bolt for a long. Because once we have that break of 900, okay, remember, it's like if we have this, we can make this, all right? I believe that you can still see my monitor. So we have price breaking out. After the breakout, you want to see a tangible support, a confirmed support. Otherwise, can unwind. Instead, if you see this holding, then over here, you want to start taking your position. You have a very tight risk, and that's the area where you want to long. It doesn't really matter if you're longing here, here, here. The point is that's the zone. Okay, so you wait for the breakout, and then you come back on that support to buy the dips. And over here, we had the big push. So this morning, once we were in, the most important thing then was only to hold the position and master it. So we'll zoom out and share with you a few things over here. So let's see, for example, this chart. So very active trading over here, right? So in this case, a trader took the first trade, trimmed, so scale out position, re-enter, loading the boat, selling partial over here, re-entering, selling more partial, re-entering, selling more partial. This is one of the mentoring trader that I formed, and you can see over here Tesla from this 898. So he got even earlier, right, before the break of 900, but then he added back over here on the second entry at around 902, 903, and then adding more over here 904, 905. So look at these dips, because this is something that you'll see over and over and over, especially if you trade Tesla or Meta or Amazon, so these big caps. Every single time we had some kind of washouts. You can see over here, so we have a fast, right away wash, then you have to wait for your higher low. And I'm going to explain that better. So you see over here a first washout, right? The price over here sweeps again. Comes a little bit there. Price over here sweeps, makes a higher low, and then over here you start taking the long. So don't enter right away when it washes. Wait for that, higher low, that higher low. And then you start like buying this area over here, having a set risk. Don't buy when something is washing out, when something is unwinding. Over here, you see the wash, the same pattern. You wait for that higher low. And then again, the move to the upside. So now Tesla pulled back. You can see over here, my target this morning was 910. That was what I was calling 910. And I'm also calling 930. So if we're going to hold this low over here, 900, and we can consolidate above, we can still look for a possible 930 by the end of today or tomorrow. All right. So the trailing would be over here, 900, 901. So let's look if we can have this possible move to the upside. In the meantime, drug over here, so my very big performance. Beautiful. You can see how it's unwinding. Here, so the target over here now on drug is exactly this 227 to cover a partial. So what we can see now is that those sweeps came. So maybe Sam, you can, I don't know, name these recaps, or at least a part of this recap, like sweeps, how to find these sweeps over here, because this is beautiful. And the sweep that you can see in the chart is a break of the support and right away, immediately wash, right? This is a perfect example of the same setup that actually we saw on SPRC, on BBY. So that's your sweep. I'm gonna post over here, traders.
Yeah, that's awesome. Seeing it play out live like that.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting because when you are in a position right away, boom, you have a bigger profit in instantly, and you are like so much better in the money. I'm watching also NERV today. I didn't actually trade it, but I got to my level that I had over here traced from the previous days. So we're gonna put NERV, meanwhile that drug is holding. One point I want to add. Not because drug right now reads our first target, the J lines, that this is going to be an all-day fader. This can still find volume, reclaim 240 and push to new highs. All right, so always be careful because we're talking about 1030. All right. So let's look at NERV. Well, I'm not in a trade on NERV, and I'm not going to be in a trade on NERV. This morning, my position was only Tesla. My bear next to me took SPRC and drug. But I want really to go over this stock today for a few things and why I had the 667. You can see over here, right? My 667, why I had that. Also parabolic move over here on Bookmap. So levels are very important when you trade. And we're gonna look together at this stock. All right. So first of all, daily level. This is an hourly chart, but you can use a daily level. You can see that peak over here is 670. Then over here, traders basically this this after hours to 670. If I go check the 4-hour chart, you will see that we have also over here this perfect trend line. Now we didn't get over here to the trend line at 680, 685. We got very near over here to the 670. Double top, also previous high. So that's the level that I want to consider. Then of course you find the timing. Pushing that daily level, 670. So you can see over here, stock grinding without a big level of heat map above, right? The big heat map over here, it's at 7. That was where Bbby wanted to short. We're not short on this. We're just waiting right now. We missed the trade, it's fine. Once that trend line over here occurred, right? So you can see this trend line, boom, started to unwind. So pretty good fade. Over here, not in a trade, as I said. First target hit. Let's see over here, we have our friend Layman explaining our calling over here a few of the extension plays that we're having right now. So drag is looking over here, curling on the 1 minute J lines. Very low volume, this AYLA. So let's see for previous levels. Okay, if I take my trend line, if I trace my trend line, sorry, we have the resistance over here, 170, and we have a breakout. Let's look for resistances and fibs. So we have a $2 area of resistance, which is pretty interesting. And a good fib at 188. Let's also look at the 1 hour chart. Okay, considering this is the main level, it's I prefer to consider this as the main level, this high over here. So we have this resistance between 195 and 205. That's ideally the area where I would like to trade short AYLA. So looking at Bookmap, I want to see if we have some liquidity over here. Very small liquidity. See, it's very liquid over here for now. $2. So basically waiting for this. So we have SPRC, beautiful morning fader from that 50% fib. Bbby, it failed from another fib level. Drug, good fader for now, or pullback in this uptrend from the 38% fib. So it looks like a three-way pattern. If the volume will continue to be low over here, I'm looking for this to unwind. If instead we start having a curl and high volume, trust me, trill in the money. You can always re-enter or say you missed it, but never let a good win or a win turn into a loss, all right? Drug over here, we have 241, 240, some good amount of liquidity. So just wait. This is a time that is just holding, doing its thing. Risk management, don't panic if you have a pop, low volume for now. So we have to hold a position. Little bit of breakdown, 235. Not a sweep right now, not a washout, holding a support. The support is over here in this case, this pre-market high. They also removed the liquidity over here from 241. You can see that 80,000. So sometimes we see this liquidity gone because they're selling on the bid, not yet. So first break on the support. Just slow right now. So just leave it over there. At this moment, I see no A plus setup to trade. Let me know, traders, if you found this webinar useful. So we went over small caps and big caps. We went over the sweep. We went over manipulation. You can see on drug. We went over extensions, fake outs, how to trace fibs. Ton of really of knowledge information. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Joseph. Yeah, I think that was incredibly valuable and also inspiring as well, looking at some of those results from your group. Yeah, and you also talked about the importance of discipline, and maybe if you're having issues before looking at the market, look at yourself and your state of mind and sorting out your own situation. That's super important.
Absolutely, because everybody can make money, right? For example, this is a trader who is performing very, very good. He's a small cap trader. He's gonna go probably 30, 40K for the month. The point is, the days that he has no setups, he doesn't feel good, we don't trade. So it takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of mental effort to stay away from what you love to do. But of course you have to do it. For example, if I don't feel good, if I had, let's say, anything going wrong in my life, if I'm waiting, we say an important answer from a medical exam, right? I cannot really have my mind totally focusing on this one because every bad news that I might have, it will impact so much my trading. And that's super important. So only perform when you are perfectly, when you have, I would say, healthy regimen, lifestyle, eating, so your diet, you feel in good connection with your overall surroundings, your family, your friends, yourself, then it's the time you have to perform.
Do you monitor your sleep as well, Joseph?
I sleep not much, so there's not really much to monitor over there.
Fair enough.
One time Musk said that he slept like Jeff Bezos in their office for years, sleeping 4 or 5 hours. I mean, I'm not at that level, but when I sleep 6 hours per night, for me, I'm more than fine. 6 a.m., 5:30 up, going to do some cardio, hit the weights, put out the stress, and then get back over here to the trading say.
Oh, I'm surprised, especially working out. After a workout, I'm normally exhausted. I sleep for maybe 8 or 9 hours.
In the morning, so very, very early. I cannot train as I train right now. I'm training decent. I could never train after my trading day, even because over here is would be 10:30 when I finish PM. But even if I would be in the States, like we'll be in September, I'm going Traders for Cause. I mean, I cannot trade in the afternoon, 4, 5, 6 p.m. after 6, 8 hours of trading. Too exhausted, at least for me.
Yeah.
All right, I think we can wrap it up over here, Sam, for today. What do you think?
Yes, I think so. I did have just one final question for you, if you've got a.
Of course.
You reminded me of it, actually. You said don't panic if you have a pop, and that's something that I've personally been struggling with a little bit, especially after sizing up. Like, I'm usually fine with my execution on my standard size, but a lot of traders, they'll get to a point where they want to add more size. Maybe they've started getting consistent results, but then they struggle more psychologically with playing with bigger money. So did you have a process in place, or do you have any
Yeah.
tips for sizing up?
Yes. More than one. It's more than a tip. It's a plan. It's a process. So let's say that you size up a certain amount, and you have to build a cushion of P&L of money before you size up the next time between 15 and 30%. You have to build up cushion of money that even if you have 2 3 red days, you will intact your account balance. That's the first thing. So you're trading safely. Then you have also to have wired out before sizing up a portion of your account. We're talking about profits, because that is like a reward. And that's like a safety that already you put in your bank account, I don't know, wherever you live, or in Bitcoin, whatever you like. So you have to trade without stress. Because if you have like, if you're sizing, and let's say you're adding 20 30% more to your size of what you were trading previously, and you're going to have 2 or 3 red days, maybe because you get a little bit of anxiety, maybe you get like a first loss, you cannot accept that you're losing, you don't want to lose that money that you hardly made with long time. I mean, that money saved, and that cushion that you build is for that reason. So you can relax, you can back trading your system how it is, not looking at your P&L, like the casino going up and down. That's the first thing. Second thing is, I would monitor when you size. So every single day you should journal how much you're sizing. And then of course, if you're sizing more, also your risk dollar per trade. So I suggest you have a risk dollar per trade and a risk dollar per stock and a risk dollar per day. So there are basically three. They have to be monitored and also increased, because if you're sizing 30% and you're having your dollar risk per trade the same as before, it's not correct. Everything has to be, in equal size. Basically, these two things. And then, of course, you have always to think one thing. You're sizing and you're thinking that now you're risking more money. But thinking 5 years from now, probably the money that you're doing right now, the returns that you're doing right now, better, are not going to be the same as you're doing in the future. In the future, you're going to earn more, make more profit. So getting anxious or getting like, so tight because maybe you're doing so much more right now, think about the mind of the future. That will, like, in Italian, we say stemperare. That will say like, who gives a damn about the money that I'm doing right now? I mean, look and think what you're going to do in the future. So everything that you're doing right now is just like, for a moment, you're not going to feel that anxiety when you trade it. Okay.
Right, yeah. No, I really like that actually. That's clever.
Yeah.
It feels
Just look.
relaxing just thinking about that.
Exactly. Everything I have to do super stressful and important in my life, I say, okay, this is nothing compared to what I did before or what I have to do in the future. So this I'm gonna pass it like this. When you don't give that too much importance, you're not too much tight on that, and you're not like much having so many emotion from that. So it's like, it's not that you don't have to care about it. Just like, don't think too much about it. Just do it.
Yeah.
Okay, traders. All right, so I think we can wrap it up for today.
Okay.
Sam, thank you for being a great host. Thank you, traders, for being over here with us. Put a like. We put a lot of work over here for you. I mean, this is free, so help us in this way. And see you again next week, traders. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Bookmap, and take care. Bye bye.
Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, guys. Bye bye.